Tooth, as you know, once told a child's fate about the Grinch was quite unable to steal the cheer that the holidays brought and about the lesson that he was taught. But if you'll lend me a year or two, I'll tell you a similar story that's new. It's about the man who commits a crime but discovers the truth that's always new.
It happened one Easter as the lilies bloomed to greet the day that death was doomed. It's a prime example of intellectual snobbery in what came to be known as the Great Church Robbery. The church was known for its love and affection, and they invited in folks from every direction. But to one neighbor, named Mr. DeWitt, their invitations didn't matter one bit. DeWitt hated them for their Christian religion. He held no love, not even a smidgen. He wished the pastor had jumped in a lake, and the clanging church bells made his head. Though he felt this way not because of his head, but the fact that his soul was spiritually dead. So with a heart full of meanness and doubt, he watched Easter morning as their service let out, staring out of his window with his cold, ugly sneer at their warm handshakes and smiles full of cheer.
We'll all be returning
He said with a bark.
for tonight's service as soon as it's dark. And then with their worship they'll raise a commotion, but what it's about I have not a notion. They'll set that big church bell to ringing, then they'll all begin praying and singing. They'll pound the piano and the organ too, but why they must do it, I haven't a clue. Why, for so many years I've put up with this stuff, it's driving me crazy, I've had quite enough.
As he got angry thinking of how they would do it, he suddenly snapped.
I must put a stop to it. Oh, without their church stuff. Their bright, happy mood would quickly turn foul.
Then a wicked idea hit his wicked old brain.
I'll pretend I'm a blind man with dark glasses and a cane. I'll steal all the things, and if anybody spies me in my clever get-up, they won't recognize me.
Yes, he felt quite proud and thought himself wise. So armed with a plan in a tricky disguise, he cranked up his pickup with a gear-grinding lurch and pulled it up to the back door of the church. Determined that his entry nothing would block, he used a screwdriver to jimmy the lock.
This is too easy.
The fake blind man hissed as he tiptoed inside, pinning clenching his fist. Then he lowered his glasses and peered all around to make sure that no one was there to be found.
These speakers
He said,
are the first thing I'll steal.
as he loaded onto his crafty old wheel. Then he ripped up and threw out the pads and the fuse. Yes, he took every comfort, and the instruments too. Then he carried the songbooks and all he could have, and even a Bible was not above them. When he had taken all he could rob, he was turning to go when he heard a small sob. Grabbing his cane, he spun round at the world, and there stood by the altar a tiny young girl.
Who's there?
He asked while tapping his cane.
You see, I'm quite blind. I don't know your name.
My dad is the pastor, and I'm Mary Sid.
Then with a trembling voice she asked,
Who are you?
Just a friend.
he said,
No need to fear.
as he motioned the little girl to draw near.
I'm taking out the old and buying all new, and as soon as I'll finish, I'll send it to you.
Then he consentingly patted her head, but was taken aback at the next thing she said.
Oh, kind sir, I wonder if I might pray that the Lord could give you your sight.
And before he could answer, moved out of the way, she laid her small hands on his brow to pray.
Dear Jesus, I thank you for being so kind, and I ask you to touch this man who is blind. Bring the light to his eyes and help him to see. So give him this gift, Lord, and do it for me.
And when she had finished, his throat was all dry, and behind his dark glasses a tear dimmed his eye. And conviction had fallen on him like a great weight upon his throat.
Thank you, dearie, but now I'll be late. So go on back home and don't say a word, or don't tell anybody what you've heard.
And as he watched the pastor's child depart, he felt a strange tug down deep in his heart. But he soon shook it off with a snort and a shrug, and as he was leaving, he threw out the rug. It was 6:30, soon as the church would be full, so he cranked up the pickup and away he did pull. As soon as he approached the hill's top, it was getting quite dark, and he drove toward the cliff and put it in park. He could hear a sound quiet and low, rising above from the church in the valley below. But this sound wasn't cheerful. Why, it sounded quite cheerful. Everyone there, to the smallest bell, was singing their favorite songs a cappella. He hadn't stolen their joy, it remained. In spite of their losses, they worshiped the Lord.
Maybe their joy doesn't come from what's done. Perhaps.
He smiled,
It comes from someone.
but suddenly his heart was crushed with cold fear as he noticed the pickup had slipped out of gear. As he noticed the pickup, it rolled to the cliff edge, a rusty old bunker.
Lord, I knew I was wrong with all these church things to take. So save them, all, and also me, for Jesus' sake.
He felt a strange power he never felt before as he found the strength of Samson and more.